Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Ms. JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. It's beautiful out here in Charlotte today. We've been having wonderful weather, and everybody's out and about. Today I want to talk about gun permits and the way you're supposed to carry your gun in different states. I just posted a video of a instructor out in Chicago that teaches about how we address officers when we come in contact with them. However, it's one thing that he didn't know or didn't mention in the video. I'm not saying he didn't know it, but he didn't mention it. Every state is different when it comes to where you keep your gun when you're driving. Okay, so I say that to say, and I will tell y'all about the states that I know of, okay, because I can only tell y'all about the states that I know of. And I'm going to give y'all some suggestions on what you should do when you're traveling to another state. So just pay attention real quick. Here in North Carolina, it's an open carry state, meaning we can walk around with our gun just like in the Wild Wild West. Officers know you have it. They see it. You know it's in a proper holster. That's the way North Carolina does their business. The same with Philly. I don't know if they changed their laws. But last I've known, Philly was also an open carry state. But when traveling, things is a little bit different. Okay? Most of the time, we don't take our guns out unless you're in a very, very bad neighborhood. People don't really need to know you have a gun because it does scare some people. Because they don't know if there's so many things going on out here in the world today. Even though when you're given a concealed and carry, you have the right to protect as well. Okay, so if you see something going on, you do have the right to protect until an officer gets there. However, that's not the case, and the reason why everybody gets a concealed and carry. Some people just get it to protect their families, protect their homes. We have the right to protect in the United States. However, when traveling with your firearm, it's a little bit different. Okay? Certain places it needs to be kept. Some people like to keep it in the glove compartment in North Carolina. Some people like to keep it on their lap where the officer can see it if they get pulled over. The armrest. The North Carolina is a little bit different. When you go into South Carolina, now I know I live less than 15 minutes from South Carolina, and I'm in South Carolina often. Okay? You can't have your gun on your lap. You can't have it in your glove compartment. You can't have it. You have to have it in your trunk, or you're going to jail. That's their rules. Okay? When you come into their state, your gun must be in the trunk. And that's no if, ands, about. That's just what their rules are. We can't change it. So, if you forget to put it in the trunk and you get pulled over in South Carolina, depending on the officer you get, he might respect it and he may not. He may take you to jail. So what I'm saying to say is the video that I just posted on YouTube, if he was in South Carolina, he would have went to jail that day. Even having the permit, because it wasn't placed where it was supposed to be. I mean, he probably could afford it, or I'm new to the state, I don't know. I didn't know. However, to avoid situations like that, it would be great to call the states that you'll be traveling through and ask them what is their procedures. Well, I also found that following South Carolina's procedures, regardless if that's the procedure in that state, will overcome all other procedures. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Reason being, if you're traveling and you get stopped on the highway and your gun is in the trunk, then the officer has no reason to fear, and they have no reason to pull. You have no reason to pull. You have no reason to fear as well, because they know the gun is back there. Now, this is just my theory. If they know the gun is safe in the trunk, they don't have to get all antsy. Where's your gun? Keep your hands away from it. Your hands is nowhere near it because it's nowhere near you. If it's in the trunk and a lockbox, everything should go fine. And I believe that's why South Carolina implemented that, because there will be no worries. Of course, they're going to go check it, look at your paperwork, and you still should address them and say, hey, I have a gun in the vehicle. I have a concealed and carry permit. Of course, they're going to ask you for your driver's license, your insurance, your registration. I don't even know why they ask for that anymore, because when you put the name in the computers, it comes up. I just think they just want to stress us out. But anyway, the point to it is you got to give them your ID, your driver's license, so they can see that it's you. Give them your concealed carry permit, whatever else they ask you for, because some don't even ask you. Like Maryland, they don't even ask you for the registration. Reason being is because as soon as they put that driver's license in, everything about you is going to pop up from every state in the United States. So they don't even care if you have the paperwork or not. They're going to know whether your insurance and everything is up to date, because it's going to pop up. Every state is different. They don't have it. I think North Carolina has that same system, because I had got pulled over one time and the officer just asked me for my driver's license. He didn't ask me for registration or insurance, but all my stuff was legit. So I didn't have nothing to worry about. He just took my license. He said, okay, let me go. I'll be back. I said, okay. And he came back and he said, I'm just going to give you a warning. Here's your driver's license back. I see everything else is good. I just need you to fix your light. And I'm like, okay. Well, thank you. Have a good night. And that was that. So he put a warning in there. So if he didn't even give me a piece of paper. See, Maryland gives you a piece of paper. He didn't even give me a piece of paper. He just told me I gave you a warning. But it's already in the system. So with it being in the system, if I didn't get it fixed and I got pulled over again, they would have seen, he was preparing me for the next officer that stops me if I didn't get it fixed. It's like, just like in sales, sometimes we don't get the customer right then and there, but we're prepping the customer for the next person that touched base with them on our product. Okay, police reminded me of sales, because that's what he was doing. He was prepping me for the next officer that may stop me. The next officer would have seen, hey, and see, this is the thing. They already know that you have a conceal and carry permit before they even stop you sometime, because if they run your plates, everything that comes up, everything about you is going to come up if they run your plates, because you're attached to those license plates, okay, in America. And if they get your driver's license, everything is going to come up if your stuff is registered legit, meaning everything that your right address is on your registration, your right address is on your driver's license, Your right address is on your concealed and carry permit. When all of those things are correct, they're able to see everything about you. There's no hiding. And this is why I tell people today to don't hide. Just do what you're supposed to do. So that way, everything is legit. And they know who they're dealing with. When they pull up and they run your license or they run your plates, if there's so many different names on there, different addresses, they already know you're an unstable type of person. So they know what they're dealing with. If everything is pretty much legit and, maybe one address is off, okay, maybe they just moved. Let me go and ask. But if they see all these different addresses and different areas and different names, and it becomes confusing to them. So they know that you're not unstable to a certain degree. That's like I got pulled over in Maryland one time. And, my mother had bought me, for those that knew, I had Expedition. And my credit wasn't all what it, I needed it to be to get into the Expedition. So I had called mommy, and I said, Ma, I want to get this Expedition. My kids want a bigger vehicle because, they're friends, because I'm always driving the kids all over the place. And I needed a bigger vehicle. So she's like, okay, well, I'll help you. I'm like, okay. So, I get the vehicle and I get pulled over. The cops know it's my mother's, in my mother's name. Because when I first bought the vehicle, they knew that was my mother. So it came up as my mother. She actually became a resident of Maryland, even though she didn't live there, because the vehicle was bought in Maryland. And her name was on it. Her name wasn't on the insurance. My name was on insurance, and I was the driver. But her name was on the physical car. So when the officer came to me, he said, okay, I see that you're not the owner of the vehicle, that your mother's the owner of the vehicle, but I see that you have insurance on the vehicle. He said something else. I forgot what else he said, but he said, stop flying through here. Because I was driving fast that particular day. I was trying to pick up my son. And it was getting late, and I know he gets antsy because he has ADHD. So I didn't want him to be out there too long waiting on me. So I was flying down the road. But, of course, I broke the law. And I knew it when I got pulled over. Sometimes we do things that we don't intend to do, but we do them. Okay, and then it comes back to bite us later. However, we're human beings. Okay, we're going to make mistakes. And that's why the officers are put in place to remind us. He didn't give me a ticket. I explained to him where I was going. And like I said, he knew that the vehicle was in my mom's name. He knew that I carried the car insurance. And my stuff was legit. Everything was legit. He saw that. So he let me go. He just said, don't come through here again like that. If I see you again, I'm going to give you a ticket. I said, okay. So, when I go to pick up my son, I was like, oh, let me drive slow because I don't want to get a ticket. So I said that to say, follow the rules, people. Y'all quick to say, oh, the police is just gonna do this to us and do this to do that to us. If you're following the rules, you have nothing to worry about. I mean, we do get some a-hole police officers. We do. I've ran into a few here in Charlotte. Okay? One about my son. Two about my son, but it was in two different locations. Okay? And I used to pray every day that he didn't get caught up out there with the police because he didn't know the rules and didn't want to listen. But if we follow the rules, we can fight it. Okay? If they do something wrong. So try and follow the rules. And when you're traveling with a gun, once again, call the states. If you don't already know what the procedures are, call the states and ask them. That's all it takes. Call the police department in those particular states and ask them. And if you don't know the rules in a particular state or can't get a hold of them or whatever, if your gun is in the trunk, the police officer has nothing to fear, or your paperwork is legit, you shouldn't have a problem. Once he checks it and makes sure that it's registered, you have your paperwork of the concealed and carry. And that's the thing with the concealed and carry. We have to carry it everywhere we go, whether we have a gun on us or not. Because we can get pulled over. You may not even have your gun, but you still have to let the officer know. I don't have my gun on me, but I have a concealed and carry. They'll see it when they get to their car and run your name. But you already let them know. You gave them heads up. We have to keep it on us like ID. I know that's why I don't understand why they gave it to us in a paper form. You know, they need to get that together. You know, the United States is so cheap. Different states, I say, they're cheap. It should be laminated just like driver's license, because if this thing happened to get washed or something, I have to go get a new copy. I mean, even though it's in a system, but you're still supposed to have it, you know, with you. So for some reason, if this gets wet, I'm thinking about getting it laminated. I don't know. But the thing about lamination is, if it gets hot, it melts, and then it can melt the name away. So that's why it should come in license form. Just like security license in New York. I know I used to be a security guard back in the day. But it comes just like the driver's license. And it looks just like the driver's license. So that way it won't get messed up. So people can still read it. So like I was saying, every state is different. You know, when you come to a new state, even when you go to live in a new state, you got to find out the rules in the state. You know, just like when I first came to North Carolina. You know, my significant other didn't understand why I was out talking to people. And, you know, I needed to know what was going on in this state and how the rules apply, because every state is different. You don't want to be coming from, say, Maryland. No, not Maryland. Say Philly with an open carry and go down to South Carolina and think just because it's a concealed and carry state that you could just do the same rules that applied in Philly. It don't work that way. So the blessing here in North Carolina, when I took my concealed and carry, I was able to get both state information because they know we go back and forth. We go to Carolyn's, we go down there just to visit, just the water's down there, you know. So people are frequently going back and forth to South Carolina. So they made it where they give us both states so there won't be any misunderstandings. Okay? You know, my kids sometimes think I be bugging sometimes because we could be driving and I might have my gun in the lockbox in the car, say, next to me. And on the seat or under the seat. And all of a sudden I just pull over. And they're like, well, what's wrong with you? We trying to get to the plane. I'm like, no, wait a minute. We on our way in South Carolina. This thing got to go in the truck. I'm not going to jail. And they just look at me. These are the rules. And so your kids, that's the other thing. Your kids pay attention. Okay, so now, if we was to stay here in the North Carolina, South Carolina metro area, my daughter knows. So when she gets her gun permit, she knows that it has to be put in the back when you're coming into South Carolina. She knows this because she watched her mother do it. So the things that we do reflects on our children as well. Let them watch you. Make sure you got a safe for your gun. Make sure you have a lockbox for your gun. They sell lockboxes on Amazon. For those people, the people that don't, their guns didn't come with a lockbox. I'm thankful and blessed that mine came with a lockbox. However, if your gun doesn't come with a lockbox, they have them on Amazon. You can buy them so you can carry your gun in. Okay? I know y'all heard one of my songs. Which song is it I made? And I said, you see me carrying the briefcase. I think that's the one with me and Chris Brown. I think it's the one with me and Chris Brown. I got my gun in my briefcase. Yeah. So they made that come to pass. Okay, so they're starting to put the guns in lock boxes and briefcases for us. Okay, even though some guns came in briefcases, big guns, but not like rifles come in briefcases. But now they put the handguns in the briefcases. Okay, so all of that I spoke about has came to pass. Everybody can walk around with their gun in a briefcase, or they can put it on them, or they can put it in their bag. Okay, so we have those rights now. Okay, so get your lockbox to carry your gun in. And when you're addressing the officer, and you tell the officer, they know that you are a safety person. You know, my gun is in the trunk with in a lockbox. You're like, okay, this person is safe. Okay. People address you based on, we always say our parents, okay? And back in the day, it might have been our parents. But as time is going on, they realize that, you know, they hated us for wearing hoodies. Black people. Oh, they got on a hoodie. They must be going to rob something. That was the theory back in the day. But now that the white people are wearing it, and they wear it more than we did, it's okay now. Okay? Now that we are transforming into a better outlook on how we look at people, they can assess not exactly who you are, but how you carry your lifestyle. Okay? Just like I had got pulled over in Glen Burnie. I wasn't supposed to be driving my car, but being that I was staying at someone else's house, so this is why I don't like to stay with people. I really don't, unless, you know, a mate and you're in a relationship, you know. But when you stay with people, sometimes they force you to do things that you're not supposed to do, or beyond your control, knowing it's against the law. So I got pulled over because she was asking me to come and get her, knowing I didn't have no registration and no insurance. You know, and the thing was, well, you staying in my house and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go. You know. So when I get halfway there, the police officers pull me over. And he said, where you going? I said, well, I was going to pick up the person I'm staying with and going to file for a job at the Labor Ready, because I need to get my registration and insurance. And he looked at me and he said, she wanted me to pick her up. So I called her. I said, I got stopped by the police. I can't get you. I mean, even though I got stopped, that was her karma, because she tried to use me to benefit her, and God reversed it. Because I had already told her, I said, you know the car is illegal, and I'm trying to get the money up. I'm working to get all my stuff back legit. So just take your Uber or whatever you do. She couldn't respect that. Anyway, so the officer said, you know, well, since you was honest with me, he said, I'm not going to have them impound your vehicle, you know, but you're going to have to get it towed because you can't drive. So I want you to get your car towed back to the area, okay, and stay out of it until you get it registered again. I said, okay, thank you. So in actuality, you know, I was so upset about being pulled over, but I was also thankful because she couldn't use me as a pawn to drive her around where she needed to go because I didn't have the insurance or the registration. So I had to put insurance back on my vehicle. And I was working, but I was trying to get the money up slowly. Had to get paid, But God took me out of that through the police officers. Because now I had documentation. You see, I can't drive you. The police said so. Some people don't care about breaking the law. But what you do, it can follow you. So if you a person that's thinking about getting a gun permit or a concealed and carry, and you'll say 15, 16, 17 years old, try not to break the law. Stay out of, because you have goals. That's one of your goals. You want to be a concealed and carry citizen. So try not to break the law while you're young, so you don't want to break the law ever. But sometimes we break the law. Sometimes we don't even know we're breaking the law. But try your best for the laws that you do know to not break them, so that way you can be a concealed and carry citizen. And that's the way it works. Things is not just handed to us. We work towards, you know how hard it is to stay out of trouble? Sometimes. I get it. I live this world in this United States and world with y'all. I know. I go through the same things y'all go through. Just because I'm worth a little bit more don't mean I don't go through what y'all go through. I have ups and downs. It's called life, real life. However, if we try to stay out the way because we want to complete our goals later on, you won't have a problem. You follow the rules to the best of your knowledge. And this is why I got on here today, because even though the guy in Chicago was an instructor and he gave y'all the basic tip on how to address a police officer, but what he didn't say in there is every state is different. So I needed to address that, because you can think what goes on in Chicago, it's not going on down here in South Carolina. Okay, so we got to beware of those type of things. And it's nothing to just call the state police. Whatever state you're going to and that you're going to be roaming around in, to call and say, okay, I'm going to visit, say, Lancaster, South Carolina. That's not too far from me. I already know what the rules is in South Carolina. But if you say you're going there and you have a concealed and carry, just pick up the phone, you Google it, Lancaster, South Carolina police. Google is a wonderful thing these days. Okay? Makes things a whole lot easier. You Google it and you call them. And you'll get that voicemail. The thing. If this is a 911 emergency, call 911. If not, hold on. You may have to hold on for a little bit because they be doing what they do. And then once they get on the line, hey, I'm going to be visiting your state and I'm a concealed and carry. I have a concealed and carry. What are y'all rules in the area that I'm calling? Because this is where I'll be located. And it's good for them to know, too, that you'll be there. We got some people visiting, they got guns. It's good for them to know. They're coming. But they know that you're going to follow the rules because you called and asked about it. You're responsible. They know you're responsible. Because if you wasn't responsible, you wouldn't have called. It's as simple as that. Something that can be avoided, avoid it. If you have the control to avoid it. We don't get guns to showboat. We get guns for safety. So we have to follow the rules of safety as well. And that's just what it is, ladies and gents. Apply for your gun permit. Take your concealed and carry class. And buy the guns that you want to have to be safe for your family. Every man is responsible for his family. If you've been to jail before, just because you're a felon don't always mean that they're going to deny you. It depends on what you went to jail for. Now, if you were stopped with a gun and it was illegal, of course, you're not getting a gun permit. But if you went to jail for something minor, traffic, I can't say all of because I don't know all of their procedures, but I was told by an officer, just because you went to jail doesn't always mean that they're going to deny you. They look at different factors. How long ago you been to jail? What you went to jail for? Was it a violent crime? Are you mentally disabled? Okay, do you have any DV issues? Where you're fighting your wife. So the next time you slap your wife, think about it. Because once it goes on your record, you may not be able to get a gun permit. So keep your hands off her. Same with your women. Because they're taking women to jail today, too, for slapping their men's. So you make sure, or hitting their men's, that you ain't doing any violent acts. So when that time comes, they'll say, they don't have no violent acts on there, not even a DV. We'll give it to them. And they look all around the United States, too. So just because you slapped your wife and had a DV, say in D.C., and then you call yourself moving down here, it's going to come up. Where you going to go? That's what I try to tell people. Stop doing nonsense, because where you going? Where you going? They know everything we do. So just fly right. You got some people out here just want to keep fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. Why? You fighting something that they already know. Just fly right. Do things the right way. So keep your hands off of people. They'll teach you in the concealed carry class before you pull. You must warn the party. And just tell people, leave you alone. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. I won't bother you. We all want to live and not go to jail. Don't nobody like jail. Don't nobody like the police for real. So we try to stay out the way. And they like it like that. Because then they ain't got to work as hard. We just stay out the way. We're working citizens. We're doing what we do. That's it. Sometimes, certain areas that we go in, we need to be protected. There was a TikTok video. I was laughing. And the police officer pulled a person over. And he said, well, why you got your windows up? He was like, because I'm scared. He said, you ain't got a gun? Well, hold on. Let me get you one. Because in this area, you need one. Sometimes it be like that. You ride through some of these areas, they want to rob you. You need a gun. And it be our own people. But you need it because they be acting crazy. So with that being said, in order for you to be safe and be legit, you got to follow the rules. This is what we have to do. I got the concealed and carry. I personally prefer for a person to know I have it. That's just me. Reason being, because you're going to think twice when you're physically seeing it. Because once I pull, I'm firing. So if I got it all in my purse and then I pull it out, I'm going to shoot you. I'm not going to pull unless I'm going to shoot you. So with that being said, I'd rather you know I have it. You see it. And you're thinking twice. And you're saying, okay, well, Jackie's the type. When she pull that thing, she going to shoot me. So, she didn't warn me. So, let me just let it go. We'll discuss it another time. Or let me not mess with her because she going to shoot me. Just like with the police. They get to pull, warn you, and then shoot. We don't get to do that. Okay? So, I say that to say, choose your battle when how you want to do it. Because the moment that I pull, I'm shooting you. I'm not shooting to kill, I'm shooting to wound. So I'm going to think and think and think. And as long as you don't put your hands on me, you can talk all the mess you want. But the moment you put your hands on me, I'm pulling. So I try my hardest to refrain from having to pull. And use it when people see it as a deterrent. More so me putting it in my purse and hiding it, and then I'm pulling it. Because then that gives a person a chance to even take the gun away from you and shoot you. So you got to think about that as well. Is this person strong enough? Is this person trained? Because some people out here is well trained, whether you know it or not, on how to take a gun from you. Matter of fact, I was laughing about a video about that, where the officer pulled the gun and the youngin took the gun from him. And shot him, plow, 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 We was laughing about it, but it happens in real life. Where you can pull a gun and the party can take it from you. So when you pull the gun, you should be ready to shoot. That's just my theory. Okay? That's nobody's rules. That's just my theory. So that's why your mental have to be 100%. When you say, okay, I'm not going to listen to them, or they can go on what they're going on with, and I'm just going to walk away. But if they touch me, I'm going to back them up. They also have insurance that we can get because, you have to go through the same procedure. If you shoot someone, they have to take you down to the precinct. Okay? And talk about what happened. How long did it take you before you pulled on this person? Our goal is not to hurt anybody. That's why we don't want to pull. Our goal is to let people know I can hurt you if I choose to. So in other words, just leave me alone. But you got some people that have mental issues and they may not leave you alone and you have to pull. There's a lot of classes out there there's a lot of military people out there that can show you and teach you, because that's when they go into the military, they are taught from day one about the guns, okay? Because that's what they use. They use guns. That's their job, you know? They go to war to kill, you know? That's what they sign up for. So if you know a military official, you know, they can give you tips. You can take classes. There's instructors all around the United States teaching all kind of gun safety, okay? And rules. But y'all do need to know that every state is different. And I don't want you to be like, hey, because I've seen that too, where people be, oh, I got my conceal, and the officer still pulled me over, took me to jail, and blah, 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 blah. But why? Okay, sometimes the officers just like to be foolish because of the way their hair is, or what clothes they have on. Oh, this is just a thug. Everybody's a thug sometimes to some police officers. But everybody's not a thug. Not everybody is a criminal. And we shouldn't have to wear our hair certain ways and be marked because we're doing it. In other words, being judged before we even did anything. That's not the United States way. As U.S. citizens, we're taxpayers. If I choose I want to wear a hoodie today because I don't feel like getting dressed, and like me, okay? Yeah, I can put on a two-piece suit. Y'all know I got a closet full of clothes. I put on a dress, and I can look like the most beautiful doll, okay, what they call them Barbies, ever. But then I also could put on a hoodie, some sweatpants, and some slides. But I'm still me. Everything that I worked for, every award that I worked for, is still me. So they got to learn to stop, and this is just on the police side of things. They have to learn to stop judging people based on their clothing, based on how they look on that day. I could have been having a bad day, had to run out the house. Like, I have a child. And I'm going to just use this for instance. I have a child. So she could be wanting to do something, and I'm tired, don't feel like it, and I throw on a bonnet and a hoodie and some sweats and some slides and go outside. They may see a bum. But in actuality, that's not who I am. Don't judge me because you don't know what my day consisted of. You don't know why I have on this hoodie or this. This could have just been what I wanted to wear. I wanted to be comfortable. So, yeah, we got to stop doing that, judging people based on what we see. See, I work at a place where I'm in touch with so many different people from so many different places. Not only from the United States, from around the world. And, you know, the first thing we do, you know, working at Amazon is when we meet somebody new, where you from? Because it could be from anywhere. You know, I've met people and they tell me they're from some certain area, and I'm like, well, where is that? Never heard of that. Well, that's off of this country, and I'm like, oh, God, y'all driving me crazy. Now I got to go home and search up this country that I've never even heard of because I'm around this person every day. That's the world of Amazon. Because we work with people from everywhere around the world. And then, of course, y'all know I have a podcast that is around the world. My music is sold around the world. So I'm kind of getting used to it. I actually appreciate it because I get to learn other people's cultures and the way other people live, because we all live different. We all have different cultures. And when some of us have the same cultures, we just do things differently. And that's why it's good to get information on where people are from and how they do things and what they eat and, But we are all there to do the same thing, and that's work and get money. So no matter where we go, okay, we all need money to survive. We all breathe the same air. And we all got to work to survive. And we want to keep things as peaceful as possible. Of course, you're going to get angry sometimes. We might have arguments, People may do stupidity. Okay, because I'm around a lot of people, and they be from my country that do just the stupidest things. Okay, and I just look at them like, and where did you come from? It's embarrassing, but okay, you from America. And I have to shake my head sometimes. However, sometimes you just got to look at them and keep it moving. As long as they don't put their hands on you or roll up on you like they trying to fight you, just keep it moving. Because you can see that person today, leave that job or leave that area and never see him again. Don't let your emotions overtake you. Okay? Too many people are getting shot. Too many kids are getting hurt. Why is these kids getting shot? They ain't got nothing to do with what's on with you and so-and-so down the street. But you want to kill them. Then you wind up shooting the kid. You might get that person, but you done shot the kid plus the person. Now you got double murder on you. Now you're going to sit in jail for the rest of your life. Make it make sense. You either love life or you don't. Who wants to be in jail? It's dirty in there. And they feed you what they want to feed you. Even if you don't like it. Then you got some bullies that want to take your food, so you're starving. And if your people ain't sending you no commissary, you're messed up. It's a lot to this thing. So when you think it through, when a person getting on your nerves, pray about it. Do whatever you have to do to refrain from shooting that person or trying to shoot that person. And that's the other thing, people. You guys need to go to the gun range. Why are people being hit with stray bullets? If you know your target, you shouldn't be shooting over here. Go to the gun range. If you have your concealed and carry, we know you went to the gun range. But you can always pay and get some more lessons in so you can hit your target. Not the stray person that was next to him or on the sideline. And if you have people around you, and that's the other thing too, you have to look at your area, okay? Before you pull, look at your area. See your surrounding. Watch your surrounding. You have to, what they call it, like, okay, I'm going to use this for instance, like in the Men in Black. I know a lot of y'all seen the Men in Black movie. And y'all remember when he was at the gun range and they was testing him to become a Men in Black. And he stood there for like, I would say 30 seconds before he decided to shoot. He had a whole picture that he had to analyze before he decided to make that shot. Well, when you're outside, before you pull, you have to analyze your surroundings. For one, because you want to hit only your target. And your target is that person or animal that you feel is a threat. Of course, we can't give an animal a warning because they don't understand. But a human being, you can. You can tell them, listen, I have a gun and I don't want to pull on you. So let's just end this right now. Just like it was the other day, I was talking to a coworker, and we was having a discussion about work, and I was trying to explain something to him, but he was starting to get real antsy, and I was like, but I want you to understand what I'm saying. He couldn't process it at the moment, and sometimes we're like that because we can't process. We could have other things going on, or we just stuck in our ways, or whatever reason being. And his mind couldn't process it for the moment. So he immediately said, I don't want to talk about it. I said, you don't want to talk about it? He said, no, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I looked at him and I said, okay. And I walked away. It didn't mean that we was mad at each other. It just meant that his mind wasn't ready to process it. The same when you are, say, arguing with someone and you tell them, and that's the purpose of giving a person a warning. You're arguing with someone and you're saying to them, listen, I'm not for this right now. And I have a gun on me, and please, I'm asking you. And before you pull, they'll make the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to just let this go. Because their brains may snap at any moment. Because they're letting me know. And it's okay to let a person know, like, look, leave me alone. I'm not for the nonsense right now. I'm not feeling it. I don't want to pull on you. So just please leave me alone. And walk away. Now, if they keep agitating you, then of course, you got to protect yourself. But it's all a mental thing on how you process the situation and how the other party processes the situation, knowing that they can possibly get shot dealing with you. Okay? Now, like, y'all know I used to date a military veteran. And we know how military veterans, they minds can go in and out at times because of what they experience in the military. However, we never physically got loud with each other. It wasn't that type of argument, because being that I know that he has these issues, I would never get loud with him. I would talk to him, but I had to analyze his actions, the way he was acting during the argument. If he walked away from me, I followed him because I know he carries, but he's also a military official. And if his mind is not in the right state, it can get ugly. So I had to tell him, can you please vacate the premises until tomorrow and we'll talk about it. So I could sleep in peace. And he was okay with it because he knew that he was upset. And that's the way to deal with things. Just go. Be on your own for a moment. Process your feelings. Because we all have emotions. And sometimes our emotions will overtake us if we don't have coping skills. And then it results into tragic decisions. Especially when you have guns. And it's hard for the youth to process their emotions because they're just getting started to live. But then they're walking around with guns and make the wrong decisions, and then they're laying up in jail for the rest of not the rest of their lives, but half of the rest of their life, and they miss out on living because they made the wrong decision because their emotions was out of whack. So it's just something to think about. This is why they make sure they say on the application before you apply for your gun permit, have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness? Of course, some people are not going to answer the truth. However, they can find out if you've ever been in a hospital for mental illness. You sign off on it. And they're going to check. So it's something to think about before you decide to apply. You know, if you have had a couple of breakdowns and became violent and whatever the case may be, try to hurt yourself or hurt others, it will come up. They notate all these things. And if you don't want something like that to be notated, don't engage in that type of activity. Find a way to cope. Sometimes you just got to go off one time. You ain't got to use a weapon, just go off. So people leave you alone. This is Jacqueline Richard Simmons, JJ Diamond, Jackie, Deja, whatever y'all call me. I love you guys, and I just want to see y'all follow through with y'all rules so things to get better in our country. And we can get this country back to being the greatest country of them all. We can teach the next generation how to follow the rules, how to process their thinking, so we won't continue to keep losing children behind violence. Guns are used for safety and safety only. Not because you're mad because this person played you. If he played you, you shouldn't even be with him. Let me tell you something. If a person played you once, they're going to try to play you again. So the first time that they showed you who they are, you get away from them. Okay, you ain't my cup of tea. I don't want to deal with you. I go get me some other friends. We get lonely and want friends. And sometimes people act out. You can't control them, but you can control you. I love you guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.